Hello 10th class students. In our previous video, we have started the very first chapter of the science, that is chemical equation and chemical reaction. In this video, we are going to continue that same chapter. So let's start the chapter. But before starting the chapters, let's revise at a glance that what we have covered in our previous video. So students, in our previous video, we have studied about the types of the reaction. The different types of the reaction we have seen. Let's see which type of reactions were there. The first reaction was combination reaction, the reaction in which two reactants get combined together to form the products. So first one was combination reaction, just like A plus B gives to AB. Very simple type of the reaction it was there. The second type of the reaction, students, composition reaction or decomposition reaction. Decomposition reaction, that means this reaction is just opposite to the combination reaction. In combination reaction, two elements were combining together, but in decomposition reaction, one compound break down to form two or more than two compounds. Let's see the example. It is AB giving A plus B. A, B breaking down into two parts and giving the products A and B. We have seen one example for this, that is calcium carbonate. Whenever calcium carbonate break down, then it gives calcium oxide CaO and carbon dioxide, that is CO2. A single compound is breaking down into two simple compounds. Next type of the reaction we have seen was thermal decomposition reaction. In thermal decomposition reaction, the decomposition reactions on the basis of the energy involved by different medium, they were also of three types. When the decomposition of the substance takes place by absorbing the heat energy, then we call it thermal decomposition. Thermal, that means heat. So thermal decomposition reaction is the decomposition reaction in which the decomposition of the reactant or the substance takes place by the absorption of the heat energy. Let's see example. We have seen the examples 2Pb NO3 whole twice in solid state. When it is heated, then it gives us PbO and NO2. So this reaction is thermal decomposition reaction. But whenever the decomposition or breakdown of the substance takes place by the electrolytic method with the help of electrical energy, then we call it electrolytic decomposition. Electrolytic decomposition needed to pass the electricity through that substance or compound. See, we have seen about the example of the electrolytic decomposition, that is breakdown of the water molecule. Whenever electricity passed through, higher electrical charge is passed through the water, then water is get break down into hydrogen and oxygen gases separately. So students, this is electrolytic decomposition. Third one we have seen photolysis or photodecomposition. Photolysis or photodecomposition, that means the decomposition of the substance takes place by the absorption of the light energy. Photo, here the meaning of the photo is light. So decomposition with the help of the photo or light is called photolytic decomposition, or we can say it photolysis. Okay. The best example of the photolytic decomposition in our day-to-day life is developing of the photos through a photographic plate. The photographic plate or roll of the photograph is finely coated with silver chloride or silver bromide, that is AgCl. It is white in color, but whenever it is its photolysis takes place, photolytic decomposition takes place, then silver and chlorine both get separated. Next student, we have seen the displacement reaction. In displacement reaction, students, we have seen that one compound displaces the one element displaces the other element. The element which is more reactive can displace the other element which is less reactive than that. Let's see one example for this. If we talk in general way, then A plus BC. A is reacting with BC, and in product A is replacing the B. It means, students, A is more reactive than B. That is why the products are forming are AC plus B. Next type of the reaction that we have seen, if you see it's a chemical reaction, then zinc, whenever zinc react with hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, then ZnCl, zinc chloride is formed and hydrogen gas is removed. You can see here zinc reacting with HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, then zinc chloride, that is ZnCl2 is forming and hydrogen gas is removing here. Okay students, so this is the example of the displacement reaction. In double displacement reaction, also a type of the displacement reaction we have seen, double displacement reaction. In double displacement reaction, there is only exchange of the ion takes place in between the reactants. Here you can see the example. Whenever AB reacts with CD, it is a skeletal or model reaction. Whenever AB reacting with CD, then AC plus BD are forming. That means, students, here you can see that this B is replaced by C. This C replaced B and came at the place of B, and here the B combines with D and it forms BD. So this type of reactions are known as double displacement reaction. In double displacement reaction, we have seen, students, that sometimes formation of precipitation occur. Precipitation, that means the semi-solid substances that get settled down in the bottom of the jar. If the precipitation is occur, then that type of reaction is known as precipitation reaction. So that phenomena is known as precipitation, or precipitate is formed. Next, see here one example, that is when barium chloride BaCl2 reacts with Na2SO4, then barium sulfate solid, that means the precipitate of barium sulfate, here precipitate plus NaCl sodium chloride is formed. Next, student, we have seen neutralization reaction. In neutralization reaction, we have seen that whenever an acid reacts with base, nearly equal strength of the acid and bases combined together, they form salts. And in this reaction, acid and bases cancel out the effect of each other. That is why they get neutralized. That means the product forming will not be either acid or base. So this type of reactions are known as neutralization reaction. Next type of the reaction that we have seen was oxidation and reduction reaction. In oxidation reaction, we have seen that whenever the combination of oxygen, whenever the oxygen is added in any reactants or the hydrogen is removed from the reactants, that reaction is known as oxidation reaction. And just the antagonistic to this, whenever the addition of the hydrogen takes place and removal of the oxygen takes place, that is known as a reduction reaction. So these are the two types of the reaction, oxidation and reduction. But students, we have seen that whenever the combination of both the reactions occur, that means whenever the reduction and oxidation takes place in a single reaction, then we call it a redox reaction. Redox, that means reduction and oxidation reaction. There was an important thing regarding the oxidation and reduction that we have seen. It was oxidizing and reducing agent. We have seen, students, a oxidizing agent is one who itself get reduced. That means whenever any substance that motivates the oxidation will provide oxygen or will take the hydrogen from the reactants. So one who gives the oxygen or take the hydrogen will be oxidizing agent, because it is giving oxygen, and someone taking that oxygen which is getting oxidized, that is why that substance is getting oxidized. And in just opposite, a reducing agent. A reducing agent is a substance which fairly take oxygen or give hydrogen, that means which promotes the reduction. That substance is known as a reducing agent. We have seen about all this. Now students, today our new topic, we have also seen about the exothermic and endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions, that means the reaction when occurs, it requires the energy and it absorbs that energy in the form of the heat. So we call it endothermic reaction. And exothermic reaction, the reaction in which heat is given out. For example, the reaction of the calcium carbonate, that is lime, with water. Whenever they react together, the pot in which the reaction is occurring is get heated, because they eliminate the energy. And endothermic reaction, that means the reaction in which energy is absorbed. For example, melting of ice. It is not a chemical reaction, but whenever we have to melt the ice, then we keep the ice in open area, then ice absorb the heat energy from its surrounding, and by absorbing that heat energy, it increases its internal energy and it gets melted. So the reaction in which energy is absorbed is known as endothermic reaction, this one, and the reaction in which the energy is given out is known as exothermic reaction, and the energy reaction in which heat is absorbed is known as endothermic reaction. Let's see next, student, effect of oxidation reaction in our day-to-day life. It is very important topic. So what is the effect of oxidation reaction? Oxidation reaction, whenever this word come in our mind, we must understand that addition of the oxygen takes place in this reaction. Oxygen will combine with any metal, non-metal or anything. So students, we have to see that effects of oxidation reaction in our everyday life. The very first effect of the oxidation reaction in our day-to-day life is corrosion. Actually, corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion and rancidity, these are the two most important aspects of the oxidation reaction in our day-to-day life. So students, let's understand what are these corrosion and rancidity. First of all, let's discuss the corrosion. If we see the definition of the corrosion, then it is the process of slow conversion of the metals. The process of slow conversion of the metals into undesirable compounds, into their undesirable compounds due to their reaction with, now with whom they will react to form that undesirable compounds? With oxygen, water, acid, gases, etc. That means with so many things the metals can react and form the compounds which are undesirable for us, which are not much useful for us. That process is known as corrosion. Let's see. Once again, see the definition. The process of slow conversion of the metals into their undesirable compounds by the reaction with either with water, acid, base, gases, etc. This process is known as corrosion. For example, rusting of iron. Now the most important thing, that is rusting of the iron. So students, let's see the corrosion of the iron. In our day-to-day life, we call it rusting of the iron. Corrosion, and whenever the corrosion takes place in iron, we call it rusting of the iron. Its a common name is rusting of the iron. So let's see what happened in rusting. You have seen in our day-to-day life that whenever the iron articles or the objects are placed in moisturized places or outside the house, after some time a rusty brown coating formed on the surface of the iron. So that coating is nothing but rust. So students, let's see chemically how that rust is formed. That rust is nothing but the product of the reaction of the iron with water and oxygen. So let's see which type of reaction takes place. Rusting, iron when reacts with oxygen and moisture form a red substance which is called rust. The reaction of iron with oxygen and moisture that means water. So let's see its chemical reaction, that how it takes place. Whenever iron, that is Fe, reacts with oxygen, that is O2, plus water, that is H2O, it gives the white layer or the brown layer, that is Fe2O3 dot XH2O. Here students, XH2O means the amount of water is not fixed in it. The amount of water may vary according to the moisture present in the air. So students, it is very simple reaction. Whenever iron reacts with oxygen and moisture, that is water, H2O, it forms Fe2O3 dot XH2O. It is nothing but in our day-to-day life we call it rust, that is ferric 3 hydrated iron or oxide. Okay students, so it is a simple reaction, but this reaction is very important for examination points of view also. Many questions can be asked based on this reaction. So it is rust. But students, you have seen that the rusted iron is much weaker than the pure iron, unrusted iron. So rusting somehow degrades the quality of the iron. It harms us economically as well as the property of the iron reduced, the strength of the iron reduced. So it is very important students to prevent the rusting of the iron. So now our next topic is that how we can prevent the rusting of the iron. Actually students, the rusting of the iron is nothing but a oxidation reaction, because oxygen is combining with the iron atom and iron atom is getting oxidized. So this reaction is oxidation reaction. The rusting of the iron is nothing but oxidation reaction. Now students, methods to prevent rusting of the iron. How we can prevent the rusting of iron? We can prevent the rusting of iron by different methods in our day-to-day life. The main methods are by painting. Sometimes if we have to protect the iron by rusting, we apply paint on the surface of the iron. So this coating of the paint cut down the contact of the surface of the iron with its surrounding, with the environment, from which it can get oxygen and moisture. So if the surface of the iron will not come in contact of the moisture and oxygen, then rusting of the iron will be stopped. The second thing students, by greasing and oiling. Greasing and oiling is also an important method to protect the iron from corrosion or rusting, because applying the oil or greasing also cut down the contact of the surface from the environment. So there will be no oxidation reaction takes place. The next is galvanization. Galvanization is a special chemical coating process, students, in which the surface of the iron covered with another metal which is more reactive than the iron. So whenever there is a chance of the reaction with oxygen and water, then instead of a reaction of the iron, that metal whose coating is done on the surface of the iron will react with oxygen and water and get corrode and form the inactive layer above the layer of the iron, surface of the iron. So the surface of the iron will remains pure. Instead of reaction with the iron surface, the surface of the more reactive metal will get reacted with the oxygen and water. This process is known as galvanization. You have so many times heard that galvanized iron sheets, galvanized iron. That means that iron will not corrode or not rust very easily because it is already coated with a high reactive metals like zinc. So students, these are the three methods by which we can prevent the rusting of iron. Now students, the next important topic is corrosion of copper, because corrosion is not only occur in iron in the form of the rust, but other metals are also there which get corrode easily. And in the list of that metals, the second metal is copper. Sometimes you have seen students, whenever we put some citric substances or some sour substances in copper vessels, then its upper layer become greenish blue. After some times, the upper layer becomes greenish blue, and whenever we clean that layer, then the copper starts shining there. So what is the reason behind forming the greenish layer on the surface of the copper vessels? So it is also the corrosion of the copper metal. Now see students, which type of reaction is involved in this corrosion. First of all, see corrosion of the copper. Copper objects loses their luster and shine after some times. Whenever the vessels are new, they shine very nicely, but after some times they loses their luster and shine, because surface of these objects acquire a green coating of basic copper carbonate, that is CaCO3.CuOH whole twice. Basic copper carbonate, and its formula, see it very carefully students, it is CuCO3 CuOH whole twice. This substance is formed on the surface of the copper vessel. So when they are exposed to air. Now see the reactions, that how this reaction takes place. And next is students, corrosion of the silver metal. You have seen so many times, whenever we bring some ornamentals made of silver, then they are very lustrous and shining, but after some times their shining get degraded and their luster collapse. What is the reason behind this? That the silver readily react with hydrogen sulfide gas and it forms silver sulfate on its upper surface, which is not as lustrous as the pure silver metal. See here, the surface of the silver metal get tarnished, becomes dull on exposure to air due to formation of a coating black silver sulfide, that is Ag2S silver sulfide on its surface by the action of H2S gas present in air. H2S, that is hydrogen sulfide gas, which is present in very minute amount in air. It slowly reacts with the upper surface of the silver and they form silver sulfide Ag2S, which is not as lustrous as the pure silver metal. Next students, let's see the second effect of the oxidation reaction is rancidity. First of all, let's understand the meaning of the rancidity. In our day-to-day life, we use so many substances which in minute or in large quantity contains fatty substances, or which are the oil is minor or major part of that substance. So students, whenever we keep that substances for long period of the time, their taste become slightly changes or they get spoiled. What is the reason behind this? The reason behind this is, students, that the fat reacted with the oxygen present outside or in the environment, and they become rancid or they get spoiled because of the oxidation reactions of the fat present in the food substances. So let's see first of all the meaning of the rancidity. The taste and odor of the food material containing fat and oil. It is very important, students, because fat and oil must be there. So containing fat and oil changes when they are left exposed to air for a long period of time, because exposing the long period of time will provide sufficient oxygen to oxidize the fatty substances. This is called rancidity. It causes due to the oxidation of fat and oil. It is also important that which type of reaction takes place in rancidity. So oxidation of the fatty substances or oxidation of the fat occur in rancidity. So let's see, students, how we can prevent the rancidity. The major methods to prevent rancidity are: first thing, by adding antioxidant. Antioxidants are the substances which do not let the substance to react with the oxygen, or which themselves get combined with the oxygen, and the oxygen is not left over for reaction with the fatty substances. So if we add the antioxidizing substances in food material, then rancidity will not occur and the fatty substances will not get easily oxidized. The first thing, by adding antioxidants. Second thing, vacuum packing. As you know, students, vacuum is a place where there is no air. If there is no air, then there will not be oxygen also. So the reaction will not take place. So it is whenever we pack the food substances in a vacuum packing, then the reaction or the oxidation of the fatty substances will not take place. Third thing is replacing air by nitrogen. It is also important method, students, because nitrogen gas is readily available to us because it is the major constituent of the air around us. It is present in about 78% in air. So we can easily extract the nitrogen gas, and as you know that nitrogen is an inert gas. Nitrogen do not react easily with the any substances. So whenever the nitrogen is filled in the food packaging, then the rancidity will not take place. You have seen so many times the packet of the chips that we bought from the market. There is only a little amount of the chips present in the packet, and they are swollen up with the air. A large amount of the air is present inside the packet. Sometimes we think that we are paying for the air inside the packet. But students, remember that air is not normal air that is around us. It is actually nitrogen gas. Nitrogen gas which prevents the substances inside the packet by the rancidity. That is the reason why the chips that we made at our home get rancid very easily, get spoiled very early, but the chips or the food items that we bought inside the packet from the market remains fresh for the long time, because they are preserved in nitrogen gas, and nitrogen is an inert gas. It do not react with the fatty substances present inside the food material. So replacing air by nitrogen, and refrigeration of the food stuff. A refrigeration of the food stuff is also a good method to preserve the food substances from the rancidity, because in lower temperature the oxygen will not react with the fatty substances. They require some temperature in order to oxidize. So whenever the substances or food items are stored in very low temperature, the rancidity or the oxidation of the fat will not take place in food material and they will remain safe from the rancidity. Okay students, so that's all in our chapter. We have seen each and every topic in this chapter. Now tomorrow or in the next video we will start a new chapter of the science subject.